Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading Canto 1, Chapter 12, text 1 to 15. Shunako Vacha Asvatam no Pashristena Brahma Shirshno Rutejasa Uttarayo Hatu Garbha Ishna Jivitaha Punaha.
Text 1. The sage Sanaka said, the womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama. But Maharaja Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord.
Text 2. Tasya Janma Mahabhuti Karmani Cha Mahatmanaha Vithanam Cha Yataiva Shit Sapritya Gatavanyataha.
Text 2. How was the great Emperor Parikshit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death?
Text 3. Tadidam Shrutumichamo Gaditum Yadi Manyase Bruhinaha Shradhadananam Yasya Gyanam Adacha Chukaha.
Text 3. We all respectively want to hear about him, Maharaja Parikshit, to whom Sukadev's Goswami imparted transcendental knowledge. Please speak on this matter.
Text 4. Sutta Uvacha Apipala Dharma Rajaha Pitravat Rajyanam Prijaha Nishpraha Sarvakamabhyaha Krishna Padanusevaya.
Text 4. Sri Sukha Goswami said, Emperor Yudhishthira administered generously to everyone during his reign. He was exactly like his father. He had no personal ambition and was freed from all sorts of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna.
Text 5. Sampadaha Kratavoloka Mahisi Bharataro Mahi Jambadvipadhipatyamta Yasyascha Tridvam Gatam.
Text 5. News even reached the celestial planets about Maharaja Yudhishthira's worldly possessions, the sacrifices by which he would attain a better destination, his queen, his stalwart brothers, his extensive land, his sovereignty over the planet Earth, his fame, etc.
Text 6. Kim te kamaha surasparaha mukunda manaso dvijaha adhijarahu mudam rajna shudhitasya yathetare.
Text 6. O Brahmanas, the opulence of the king was so enchanting that the denizens of heavens aspired for it. But because he was absorbed in the service of the Lord, nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service.
Text 7. Maturgabho gato viraha satada brigunandana dadarsha purusham kanchit dadhyamano streya tejasa.
Text 7. O son of Brigu, Sanaka, when the child Parikshit was the great fighter, he was in the womb of his mother, Uttara, and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra thrown by Ashwatthama. He could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him.
Text 8. Ankustha matram amalam spurat purata moulinam apivya darshanam syamam dadidvasasam achitam.
Text 8. He, the Lord, was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had a very beautiful, blackish, infallible body, and he wore a dress of lightning yellow and a helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child.
Text 9. Srimat Dirgho Chaturbahum Tapta Kanchana Kundalam Shatajaksham Gada Punim Atmanaha Sarvato Disham Paribhramantam Ukadham Brahmayantam Gadam Muhu.
Text 9. The Lord was enriched with 4 hands, earrings of molten gold, and eyes blood red with fury. As he loitered about, his club constantly encircled him like a shooting star.
Text 10. Ashtra Tejaha Svagadaya Niharam Iva Gopatahi Vidhamantam Sanakarshe Prayekshata Ityasau.
Text 10. The Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. He was observed by the child who thought about who he was.
Text 11. Vidhuya tad ameyatma Bhagavan dharma guvibhu Mishatto dashama sasya Tatre vantar dadhe harihi.
Text 11. While thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul of everyone, and the Protector of the righteous, who stretches in all direction, who is unlimited by time and space, disappeared at once.
Text 12. Tataha sarva gondarke shonakula grahodai Jnane vamshadharaha pandur bhuyaha pandur ivajasa.
Text 12. Thereupon, when all the good signs of the zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth.
Text 13. Tasya prita manaraja vipred bhumya kripa bihi jatakam karayamasa vachyet vacha mangalam.
Text 13. King Yudhishthira, who was very satisfied with the birth of Maharaja Parikshit, had the purification process of birth performed. Learned Brahmanas, headed by Doma and Kripa, recited auspicious hymns.
Text 14. Hiranyam gam mahindramam hasya ashvam ripatirvaran pradat svanam cha viprebhyaha rajatirthe satirthavid.
Text 14. Upon the birth of a son, the king, who knew how, where, and where charity should be given, gave gold, land, villages, elephants, horses, and good food grains to the Brahmanas.
Text 15. Tamuchur brahmanastashta rajanam prashayantvitam esha hi asmin prajatantu purunam puravarshabaha.
Text 15. The learned Brahmanas, who were very satisfied with the charities of the king, addressed him as the chief amongst the Purus and informed him that his son was certainly in the line of descent from the Purus.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you, and please forgive any mistakes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, both the Mataji's very beautiful recitation. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. We'll start with the prayers. You can recite with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्येश्वरम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्त्यहस्तोः पित्राणि विदुनोति सुरत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी सतां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीरसंविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्णरसायना कथाः तज्जोषनादाशपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति। Welcome dear devotees to chant chapter a day, Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are discussing today 7 to 9 verses and we are into chapter 12. So what is the connection between chapter 11 and chapter 12? And we'll just quickly see up to verse 7. What are the main points? And then we can discuss. These are beautiful verses today, 7 to 9. In canto, this first canto, in the fourth chapter, sages asked Sutta Goswami 3 questions. Canto 1 starts with 6 questions. They have been answered by the end of chapter 3. And then in chapter 4, 3 more questions are asked by the sages. Would anyone like to briefly mention them? What are the 3 questions, or maybe one question each? What were the 3 new questions in chapter 4? Because we are discussing the answers to those questions now. Anyone? You've all been regularly attending very nicely. It is amazing, very inspiring. I see all the names. I know all the devotees here. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. So the 3 questions that were asked by the sages to Sutta Goswami are: first question, please explain to us the history of Srimad Bhagavatam and where did Vyasdev get the inspiration to write Srimad Bhagavatam. Then the third question was asked, and then the second one was asked. The second question is, tell us about Maharaj Parikshit, his birth, his activities, and about his departure from this world. So about his renunciation and death. And the third question was about the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Sukdev Goswami. So how was he received when he came to the Hastinapur, and how did his first meeting was with Sukdev Goswami? with Parikshit Maharaj. So these three questions were asked in the fourth chapter, that is in the first canto. And the first question about the history of Srimad Bhagavatam is already been answered in the fourth, fifth, and sixth chapter, right? And from seventh chapter onwards, the events leading to the birth of Parikshit Maharaj is described. So the seventh chapter began with Ashwatthama, that how he kills the five sleeping sons of Pandavas, and then Draupadi is lamenting, and then Arjuna chases him along with Krishna, and then he kills him but does not kill him. How? By taking away his money, the jewel, and his hair. But again, what he does is that he will release another Brahmastra because this time he wants to completely finish the descendants of the Kurus, and the last descendant would be in the womb of Uttara. So that is Parikshit, the child Parikshit. But meanwhile, what happens is that before describing all this, there is a little detour happens. So after seventh chapter about Ashwatthama, then again, what happens is that the birth of Parikshit should be discussed at that point. But a small detour happens, and Sutta Goswami starts explaining about Kunti Maharani prayers, because Kunti Maharani comes then in the eighth chapter. And so this is a detour, and suddenly Kunti Maharani comes and offers prayers, and that's how chapter 8 ends. After that, Yudhishthir Maharaj comes, and he laments, and all the Pandavas, they were taken to Bhishmadev by Krishna himself. And then the prayers of Bhishmadev comes in chapter 9. Thereafter, chapter 10, then Krishna will leave for Hastinapur, and chapter 11 is his entrance into Dwarka. So all these happen. So when seventh and eighth chapter was being discussed, at that time Parikshit Maharaj birth should have been in continuation. But there was a little detour in prayers of Kunti Maharani, Bhishmadev, and Krishna leaving Hastinapur, the prayers there, and his entrance into Dwarka. So what happens at this point is that all these four chapters have gone this way. So the sages will then remind Sutta Goswami again that you are supposed to describe the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, and we did not complete that topic. So you went into different topics. So please come back, and that's how now 12th chapter will connect to where it ended at 7th chapter, right? That will be the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. So we will now let's read the 7, 8, and 9 verses, and then we can discuss more. So okay, so verse 7. Matur garbhagato viraha satada bhrigunandana dardasha purusham kanche dahyamano tejasa. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O son of Brigu, Saunaka, when the child Parikshit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra thrown by Ashwatthama, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. Death generally involves remaining in trance for 7 months. A living being, according to his own action, is allowed to enter into the womb of a mother by the vehicle of a father's semen, and thus he develops his desired body. This is the law of birth in specific bodies according to one's past actions. When he is awake from trance, he feels the inconvenience of being confined within the womb, and thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes fortunately prays to the Lord for such liberation. Maharaj Parikshit, while in the womb of his mother, was struck by the Brahmastra released by Ashwatthama, and he was feeling the burning heat. But because he was a devotee of the Lord at once appeared himself within the womb by his all-powerful energy, and the child could see that someone else had come to save him. Even in that helpless condition, the child Parikshit endured the unbearable temperature due to his being a great fighter by nature, and for this reason the word Veera has been used. Angushtamatram mamalam spurat purat maulinam apivya darshanam shyamam tadidva sasamachyutam. He, the Lord, was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had a very beautiful blackish infallible body, and he wore a dress of lightning yellow and a helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child. There is no purport there. श्रीमद्दीर्घचतुर्बाहुं तप्तकञ्चनकुण्डलं शतजाक्षं गदापाणिम् आत्मनः सर्वतो दिशं परिभ्रमन्तम् उल्काभां भ्रमयन्तं गदां मुहुः. The Lord was enriched with 4 hands, earrings of molten gold, and eyes blood red with fury. As he loitered about, his club constantly encircled him like a shooting star. Now, there is a long purport, and I've broken it into 2 pages. Anyone wants to read? First one?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes,
Can I
yes.
read this?
Yes, sure.
Hare Krishna. Purport. It is said in the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, that the Supreme Lord Govinda, by his one plenary portion, enters into the hollow of the universe and distributes himself as Paramatma, or the Super Soul, not only within the heart of every living being, but also within every atom of the material element. Thus, the Lord is all-pervading by his inconceivable potency, and thus he entered the womb of Uttara to save his beloved devotee Maharaj Parikshit. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.31, the Lord assured everyone that his devotees are never to be vanquished. No one can kill a devotee of the Lord because he is protected by the Lord, and no one can save a person whom the Lord desires to kill. The Lord is all-powerful, and therefore he can both save and kill as he likes. He became visible to his devotee Maharaj Parikshit even in that awkward position in the womb of his mother, in a shape just suitable for his vision. The Lord can become bigger than thousands of universes and can become smaller than an atom at the same time. Merciful as he becomes just suitable to the vision of the limited living being. Can you move up, scroll up, Mataji, or should I stop?
Yeah, we can have another volunteer now for the next
Hare
one.
Krishna.
Do you want me to read?
Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, who wants to read?
Bhagavati?
Yes, please, Mataji. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. He is not limited by any measurement of our calculation. He can become bigger than what we can think of, and he can become smaller than what we can conceive. But in all circumstances, he is the same all-powerful Lord. There is no difference between the thumb-like Vishnu in the womb of Uttara and the full-fledged Narayan in the Vaikuntha Dham, the kingdom of Godhead. He accepts the form of Archa Vigraha, which is worshipable deity, just to accept service from his different incapable devotees. By the mercy of Archa Vigraha, the form of the Lord is material elements. The devotees who are in the material world can easily approach the Lord, although he is not conceivable by the material senses. The Archa Vigraha is therefore an all spiritual form of the Lord to be perceived by the material devotees. Such an Archa Vigraha of the Lord is never to be considered material. There is no difference between matter and spirit for the Lord, although there is a gulf of difference between the two in the case of conditioned living beings. For the Lord, there is nothing but spiritual existence, and similarly, there is nothing except spiritual existence for the pure devotee of the Lord in his intimate relation with the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Such a beautiful self-explanatory purport by Srila Prabhupada. It's just totally brilliant. So we will just quickly see up to this verse that how verses are broken down, how the chapter starts up to 1 to 7, and then we will try and discuss 7, 8, and 9. So in the beginning, this chapter is titled "Birth of Emperor Parikshit." Now, 1 to 3 verses, Shaunaka Rishi inquires about Parikshit. They are saying that we want to hear about birth, activities, and destination of Parikshit, who was saved in the womb. So here we can see that Parikshit Maharaj, he is extremely glorious person. Everything about him, his birth, his activities, and his departure, death was very, very special. Krishna, why was it special? Say, for example, the birth, because Krishna himself protected him in the womb. I mean, who has seen the Lord himself in the womb? Even before he is born, he's not even a properly grown child. He's at 7 months an embryo in the womb of Uttara. And so we know that his activities are also extremely glorious. He was extremely religious, righteous, devotional king. He was ruling the kingdom with a lot of devotion, and he practically nullified the effects of Kali. He kept the Kali away until his rule was there. He, with his devotional power, he kept the Kali away. So this is very, very special. His birth, activities, death, everything is very special. He did not die of any ordinary cause of time. We know, right? He was not old that he died, but he was cursed by a small Brahmana boy. So Parikshit Maharaj is a great worshipper of Brahminical culture and cow protection, but at the same time, he insulted a Brahmana. He was doing tapasya, the Brahmana, and Parikshit Maharaj, out of this desire to drink and out of this thirst, he was very much exhausted. There was physical exhaustion, and he picked up a dead snake and he put it around the neck of this Brahmana who was doing tapasya. He garlanded him with the snake. So this kind of behavior is not expected from Parikshit Maharaj, but only explanation that we can give that Krishna wanted Srimad Bhagavatam to descend, and he wanted Parikshit Maharaj to be an instrument of this. So this will be explained by Srila Prabhupada in his purport when we come to 18th chapter. Very well. There Prabhupada clearly explains that the entire episode was orchestrated by Supreme Lord himself. Parikshit Maharaj would not have done it in ordinary cases, but Krishna could have saved. And he does this because this is the plan of the Lord. So we could hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And Krishna could have saved Parikshit Maharaj also at the time of death. If he could save him in the womb, someone could ask this question that why not at the time of his death? But we know that Parikshit Maharaj, he is such a glorious person, and a devotee would never take advantage or undue advantage of Lord's mercy. He actually wanted to go through the reaction. He knew he committed a grave mistake, and he desired punishment, in fact, because he wanted to go through the punishment. He didn't want to escape it, and he did not want his future generation to bear the effects of his karma. So he wanted to get it done with very honestly and bear the reaction. So this is how we can see that how glorious Parikshit Maharaj is. And even before seeing any other sense object, even before he is born or he comes out of the womb, the first thing he is seeing is Krishna. He's a small embryo in the womb, and he directly saw Krishna in his four-handed form. So there we can see Angushta Matram Amlam. There is a beautiful picture here. This is how he saw the Lord in the embryo, but the Lord was the size of a height of a thumb. So then 4 to 6 verses we can see that here Yudhishthir Maharaj exemplary rule is being described, because this is to set this background of Parikshit Maharaj, that he is a descendant of these great Pandavas, and Yudhishthir Maharaj is glorified. His qualities, opulence and detachment is being glorified. The main three qualities of Yudhishthir Maharaj is very beautifully explained here, that like a father, he was ruling and protecting his citizens completely, and he was detached. So he didn't have any attraction to any sense enjoyment. So such a person can be the best ruler. Even amongst living in the opulence, he was completely detached. All he wanted to do is protect his citizens and rule like a father protects the children. And at the same time, he had no sense gratificationary desires personally, and he was a dedicated worshipper of the lotus feet of Krishna. So here we can see that a ruler who sees everyone in connection with Krishna, he is the best ruler. He sees everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. With this knowledge, when he is ruling, that kingdom would definitely flourish. So he was doing the perfect management, like watering the root. The entire tree flourishes. So he knew that by serving the lotus feet of Krishna, and having all the wonderful qualities, he was the best person to sit on the throne of Hastinapur. And this is what Krishna desired. That's why Yudhishthir Maharaj to rule Hastinapur. So and one more important thing is people see others as object of their pleasure when they can't see everyone in connection with Krishna. And devotee is one who sees others always in connection of Krishna. So they would not see other people materially. They would not be the object of their sense gratification. So this is why Yudhishthir Maharaj is glorified here. He sets the background for Parikshit Maharaj. And then we can see in 7 to 9 verses that the vision of Lord's features in the womb is being described. So here 7 to 11, these 5 verses are connected. Lord protects child Parikshit in the womb. So we will see that now. The verse number 7. Angushtamatramamalam Spuratpuratmaulinam Apivya Darshanam Shyamam Tadidvasasam Achyutam. So here Parikshit Maharaj birth is described in these 3 verses, and Parikshit Maharaj saw Supreme Lord. And here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that Parikshit Maharaj had natural courage. That's why he is addressed here as, let's have a look. Oh, this is verse number 7. Okay. Let's have a look. Verse number 7. Okay, so we'll recite this first. Matur garbhagato viraha satada Brigunandana Dadarsha Purusham Kanchid Dahyamanostra Tejasam. O son of Brigu, when the child Parikshit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. Now here we can see in the first line that Parikshit is addressed as Veera. Veera is someone who is very courageous. And Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur explains that Parikshit Maharaj had natural courage. That's why he is addressed as Veera. Now, he did not even come out of the womb of his mother, and yet Sutta Goswami is addressing him as Veera. Uh, he did not do any such activity, he did not do any such a courageous thing yet, but he had the natural courage, and he had the natural courage of a Kshatriya. So he was not afraid of the fire weapon, Brahmastra. Although Brahmastra was coming inside, Parikshit Maharaj was not afraid. He does bear the heat just like how a Kshatriya would bear the heat, even at that such a tiny form within the womb of the mother. That's why he's called a Veera. And this is how here there is a beautiful purport also. Srila Prabhupada explains this also, that even in that helpless condition, the child Parikshit endured the unbearable temperature due to his being a great fighter by nature. And for this reason, the word Veera has been used. And then verse number 8. So we will recite this. Angushtamatram amalam spurat puratamaulinam apivya darshanam shyamam taditva sasamachyutam. Now, how did Lord enter the womb of Uttara? It's explained that his height was like a thumb, the size of a thumb, Angushtamatram amalam. And Amalam means transcendental. Lord is transcendental. He is without any contamination. And Spurat Purata Maulinam. He is wearing a beautiful crown which is golden, which is resplendent, and the crown is shining. Apivya darshanam shyamam. His beautiful form is blackish. Krishna is looking, how he is looking, Shyama, he is looking blackish. And Tadit Vasasam Achyutam. Tadit means like a lightning, like how the color of the lightning is, that is Tadit. And normally it is yellowish color. So shining, lightning, yellow color clothes Krishna is wearing. He wears a cloth like a lightning, yellow color. So this word tadit also comes in one of the beautiful verses that I wanted to mention, and that is here in the 10th canto. This is the prayer of Brahma. Shri Brahmavacha Naumidyate Prapushe Tadidambaraya Gunjavatamsha Paripichala Sanmukhaya Vanyashraje Kavalvetra Vishana Lakshmashriye Mrudupade Pashupangajaya. Lord Brahma said, My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of the cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. So here, Lord's form and beauty is so beautifully described by Brahma that you are wearing, we can see in the picture, like a lightning yellow shining garment that is also described as Tadit Ambaraya. So that is here in the 8th verse. And then Tadit, Brahmaji prays this way, and that's how Lord's features are described in the 8th verse. So when he entered the womb of Uttara, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that though Lord extends in all the directions, he can become the size of a thumb. As he is situated in the womb, he becomes very small. But we know that Krishna pervades everywhere, inside and out, with his external and internal potencies. He creates the entire universe, and then he maintains it. And at the right time, it also gets annihilated and destruction happens. And even in the first verse of Bhagavatam, all of this is very nicely explained, that how directly and indirectly Krishna is aware of everything. He is completely independent, right? Janmadhyasya vayat itaratas chartheshu abhignas varat. Right? So, Tene Brahmaridayadi Kaviye Muhyanti Yat Suraya. So, this is the Lord who can become the biggest size, and when it is needed, he can even become smallest size. How he enters the womb to do the needful, to save. At that time, that was the requirement. So, that's what the Lord does. So, he becomes the size of a thumb. And he's all pervading. In Bhagavad Gita, we know that verse, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Mata Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo means I am pervaded everywhere. There is nothing in this creation, material or spiritual, where Krishna is not there. He is present everywhere. And at the same time, he is within our hearts also, right? Sarvasya chaham hradi sannivishto matta smriti gnanam apohanam cha. Vedescha sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit ved videva chaham. We studied in Bhagavad Gita that how he pervades everywhere. So he is within and without, he is outside, he is inside, he is everywhere. But at this point, he required to become very, very small. So we should not think that Lord became the size of a thumb, so he is that small. No, it is not like that. We know that in Bhagavad Gita, was it 11th chapter, where Krishna shows his Vishwarupa, right, to Arjuna, and then he shows everything within his mouth, all the gods, Devis, Devtas, everything is within him. So this is how it is very, very amazing that Lord can become localized. He can become thumb size. He can enter the womb. He does the needful, and simultaneously he pervades everywhere. And also he was in the small size along with that four-handed small size. So it was such a beautiful form, and he did this to protect Parikshit. And because of the power of the Lord, Parikshit could see the Lord. He saw the form of the Lord so, and he saw it so attentively that it made a permanent impression on him. So even after coming out of the womb, he was remembering the Lord, what he saw. He could remember the image completely, the darshan. And he kept thinking after he came out of the womb that where is he? Where is that form of the Lord that I saw? And he would go to all the people and the men, and he will pull their dhotis, and he will look at their face, and he will see, try to see, are you that person whom I saw, within the womb of my mother? That's why he is called Parikshit. So if you divide the word into Parit and Ikshana, means he is the one who is looking in all the directions, that where is that four-handed personality whom I saw in the womb. So he's doing the parikshan all the time. He's examining that I want to see that form again, whom I saw in the womb. So this is how this is a very beautiful verse also there. And then the ninth verse, again Lord's form is described here, that the Lord was enriched with four hands, and he was wearing earrings of molten gold, and his eyes were blood red with fury, and he loitered about. His club constantly encircled him like a shooting star. So we can see here that in the verse it says somewhere, yeah, the first line, Srimad Dirgha Chatur Bahum. So Dirgha Chatur Bahu, he had very, very long forearms. Although he is thumb size, but his arms are very long. And then it says in the third line, Gada Panim, Shatajaksham Gada Panim. So Gada Panim means he is holding a club, the Gada in his hand. And Lord always holds club in his hand to protect his devotees. So in that relation, there is a beautiful verse spoken by Sri Kapila Dev in the third canto, where he recites this verse. We will recite. कौमोदकीं भगवतो दयितां स्मरेता दिग्धामरातिभटशोणितकर्दमेन मालां मधुव्रतवरुतगिरोपगुष्टां चैत्यस्य तत्त्वममलं मणिमस्य कंठे. So Kapila Dev, when he is explaining Mother Devhuti about how to meditate on the form of the Lord, he at this point in this verse says that the one who is meditating, the yogi, he should meditate upon the club of the Lord, which is named Kaumodaki, and it is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons who are always inimical soldiers and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound. And one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. So here we can see that Kapila Devi is speaking in this verse, and the first line is saying Kaumodakim Bhagavato Daitam Smareta. This Kaumodaki Gada is always tainted with blood of the demons. Digdha Marati Bhatashonita Kardamena. What it means, Lord constantly encircles the devotee with Gada to protect them. And even the same thing is spoken in the sixth canto by Yamaraj to his associates. He tells them that they should never go near the devotees of the Lord ever. Why? Because the devotees of the Lord are always protected by the Gada of the Lord. So here also, when Parikshit Maharaj, child Parikshit saw Lord in the embryo, in the womb. See, he saw the Gada there as well, along with all the Shankha, Chakra, Padma, everything he saw. And that's such a beautiful form. And here Yamaraj says that ते देव सिद्ध परिगीत पवित्र गाथा ये साधवः समदृशो भगवत् प्रपन्नाः तान्नोपसीदत हरेर्गदयाभिगुप्तान् नैषां वयं न च वयः प्रभवाम दण्डे. My dear servants, please do not approach such devotees, for they have fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are equal to everyone, and their narrations are sung by the demigods and the inhabitants of Siddhaloka. Please do not even go near them. They are always protected by the club of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Lord Brahma and I, and even the time factor, are not competent to chastise them. So here we can see that Yamaraj says, Te Deva Parigita Gatha. Don't approach the devotees. And the devas and demigods also glorify them. So, like a security guard, Lord is constantly surrounding the devotees and protecting them. With his gada, this is Yamaraj is warning to his Yamadutas to not to go near the devotees. So we know in sixth canto, Ajamil pastime will be discussed. So in that connection, Yamaraj is telling to his dutas that don't go near the devotees, otherwise you will have to face the gada of the Lord, and this gada is always tainted with the blood of the demons. So you want to protect yourself by not approaching the devotees, right? And there also in that canto, I think the one who takes the holy name, the one who wears the tulsi kanthi, these devotees, they are never approached at the death time by the Yamadutas. Unlimited powerful Lord can manifest to our vision also, if we are always focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord. And there is I wanted to also discuss here, read Srila Prabhupada's purport again, because it's a very very self-explanatory, nice purport. I have marked it in my own Srimad Bhagavatam copy. So I don't know where it is in there. Let's have a look. Thus, yeah, here it is. Thus the Lord, it's very nice, the purport. So I thought we could read again. Thus the Lord is all pervading by his inconceivable potency, and how he entered the womb of Uttara to save his beloved devotee Maharaj Parikshit. In Bhagavad Gita 9:31, the Lord assured everyone that his devotees are never to be vanquished. No one can kill a devotee of the Lord because he is protected by the Lord, and no one can save a person whom the Lord desires to kill. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore he can both save and kill as he likes. He became visible to his devotee Maharaj Parikshit even in that awkward position in the womb of his mother, in a shape just suitable for his vision. The Lord can become bigger than thousands of universes and can become smaller than an atom at the same time. Merciful as he is, he becomes just suitable to the vision of the limited living being. So here we can see Prabhupada explains that Krishna is unlimited. We know the external energy of the Lord in the form of Purusha avatars, right? So it was in the second chapter, I think, where all the Leela avatars and Purusha avatara questions of the sages were answered. There, Purusha avatars were described, that how the Mahavishnu, the Shai Vishnu, enters into the Mahat Tattva, right? It is all in the spiritual sky. And Mahat Tattva is something like a bubble that is holding everything together. And within that, Mahavishnu will breathe out and unlimited universes will come out. That is why here Prabhupada says he is unlimited. There is no limit. We can never count. So many universes will come out. And within that each universe, Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters, second Purusha avatar, right? And then from his navel, what comes out is the 14 planetary system, and on top is Brahma sitting there. And not only that, Lord is so merciful that he will enter each and every living being within the heart. So there also he accompanies us as um, Shiro Dakshai Vishnu, right? Yeah, so the first one is Mahavishnu, Karno Dakshai Vishnu, within the Mahatattva, from whom lots of universes is come out just by his breathing from the pores. And within each universe is Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, and within that, each living being is the Shiro Dakshai Vishnu, the Paramatma, localized form of the Lord. So this is what I'm trying to say here is that how big the Lord is. But Srila Prabhupada explains so nicely that to do the needful for the protection of the devotee, that amazing, supreme, unlimited, all-pervading Lord, transcendental Lord, enters as the thumb size, because at that time, that was the need of the hour. And not only that, after entering in that size in four-handed form, giving the darshan to Parikshit, he even gives him the power to be able to see that form and to remember that form. So this only happens by the mercy of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada says he is not limited by any measurement of our calculation. He can become bigger than what we can think of, and he can become smaller than what we can conceive. But in all circumstances, he is the same all powerful Lord. There is no difference between the thumb like Vishnu in the womb of Uttara and the full fledged Narayan in the Vaikuntha Dham, the kingdom of Godhead. He accepts. Now this is the mercy of the Lord, that this powerful supreme Lord accepts the form of Archa Vigraha, the worshipable deity, just to accept service from his different incapable devotees. So with our material eyes, we cannot conceive or see the spiritual form of the Lord. So what he does, he accepts Archa Vigraha form, so we can worship the deity and at the same time connect to the Lord through the worship of Archa Vigraha. So this is the mercy of Archa Vigraha in the form of the Lord in material elements. And devotees who are in the material world can easily approach the Lord, although he is not conceivable by the material senses. We can't conceive the Lord, can we? Because we are bound by the three modes. And the most difficult part is that we are bound by the false ego, the false identity. So unless we come to the real identity, the real ego, which is that Das Dasanudas, we are the servant of Supreme Lord. Unless we come to that position, we cannot even serve the Arch Vigraha nicely. So when we can, then Lord will reveal himself through devotees, through Bhagavatam, through our sadhana. That is what here Srila Prabhupada is saying, that Lord should not be considered material, even though he enters the matter in the form of Archa Vigraha, just for so that we can connect to the Lord. This is his mercy. So there is no difference between matter and spirit for the Lord, although there is a gulf of difference between the two in the case of a conditioned living being. For us, obviously, there is a big difference to see between matter and the spirit. For the Lord, there is nothing but spiritual existence, and similarly, there is nothing except spiritual existence for the pure devotee of the Lord in his intimate relation with the Lord. So here we can see that Srila Prabhupada has very nicely explained. And as I was reading this, I was just thinking of the first verse of Bhagavatam, that everything is there in that verse, that how it starts with paying obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And as we know, Krishna is the fountainhead, the Paribhasha Sutra of Bhagavatam, Ete Chamsha Kalapamsa, Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, Indrari Vyakulam, loke mrudayanti yuge yuge. So we know Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. To protect his devotees, he will become the smallest, and he will enter the womb, and he saves the child Parikshit in this way. So this is basically the summary of 7 to 9. And if there is any question or comment, then we can take that, or we can end the call for the day. Thank you for your patience and your enthusiastic participation as always. So, okay, so it seems like the verses are, unless anyone wants to add any realization, any comment.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Indulita Mataji.
Thank you, as usual. Very nice class. It was nice hearing your sweet voice. Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj, he was really a great devotee. And why did he accept the punishment? Why did he? Because he got a chance to listen to the Bhagavatam. Through him, we are benefiting. But also because Kali had to come. Kali had to do his course. That's why Parikshit Maharaj did not, and if Parikshit Maharaj was in this material world, Kali would not be able to perform his kind of job that he had to do, because the 4 ages goes round and round. So here we see that he accepted the decision of the Lord. He didn't ask for help, and he took that as a great opportunity to purify himself so that he could go directly to the Lord. Hare Krishna Mataji, that was my realization for today. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that second reason. Yes, the Dwapar Yuga was ending and the Kali had to come. And until this was the power of Parikshit Maharaj being the righteous king, thus he was holding the Kali back until he was ruling. This is the biggest service that he has done. This shows that how amazing and special Parikshit Maharaj is, who can hold the Kali back, but Parikshit Maharaj. So yes. So the time had come, he had to leave. So the Kali would then start, entering. And yeah, that's wonderful, Mataji. Thank you. Any other realizations? Anything anyone wants to add?
Hare Krishna Mataji, and Pranam Suresh Prabhat.
Shailesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for a wonderful class. Just something nice I heard a few days ago, actually related to this, where Prabhupada was doing a question and answer, and somebody asked him, well, if the Lord is thumb size, why can he not be seen by sort of the instrumentation of the material world and magnifying the magnification, and Prabhupada answered very beautifully in that because his form is spiritual and anything material cannot see the Lord. Our material eyes, fleshy eyes cannot see the Lord, nor can any instrumentation which is made of matter reveal the Lord's form and presence. It was a nice way of putting it. So it's not that by scientific instrumentation one can somehow try and reveal the Lord's form. It's not possible with anything material to see anything spiritual. And of course, we see that repeated in the Bhagavad Gita as well, with respect to Sanjay's given the eyes to see, etc. So that was something nice. Just a small point, Mataji, I think you misspoke by mistake. I know you know like you said, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu expands in his breathing. Actually, it's Karnadakshaya Vishnu.
Karanodakshaya, yes, absolutely. Yeah, as I remembered, then I said it's the Mahavishnu is the Karanodakshaya Vishnu because he lies in the Karana ocean, and then Garbhodakshaya and Shiro. Yes, absolutely, Prabhuji. Nice. Correct, absolutely. And yeah, as you were giving this realization, even I recently was hearing Kunti Maharani prayers, and there also, as you mentioned, that Srila Prabhupada was talking about the Maya that is covering us, the material, the matter. That is why we are not able to see the spiritual form. And Kunti Maharani's prayers, one of the prayers is Maya Javanika Channam, right? The curtain of Maya that is there in front of us. That is why we are not able to see. And when we had recently gone to Vrindavan, all the devotees from here, I had heard the devotees say that Krishna's pastimes are going on. They are going on here everywhere, especially in Vrindavan Dham. All the gopas, gopis, whatever their daily routine is, all that is going on. But because we are covered by this very powerful Maya, we can't see it, and that is why
Not only that, actually, it's not only just the Maya covering. It's without the Lord's mercy, we cannot actually see either.
Yeah.
So without His grace and His desire, we're not actually visible. So
Yes.
He's not visible to us without His grace.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not only Maya covering our inability to see, but also the Lord's mercy and grace has
Lord's
to be.
mercy, yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely. Lord's mercy is the primary thing that is required. Without His mercy, not even, speck of, like the grass cannot move, right? So without His sanction. So we are at the mercy, and that is why we are in this movement. We are all trying together, especially me, struggling sadhaka. So thank you so much for your wonderful, wonderful association tonight. And I'm very happy to be back and to be able to speak some Krishna Katha, glorify Krishna for my purification. And I really seek your blessings. Please forgive if I make any mistake. But I'm happy to be back and to serve all of you in whatever capacity I can. Thank you for bearing with me. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya eva
Neja
cha.
Namo Namaha.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna,
Thank
Mataji.
you, Divya
Hare
Gaurangi. Wonderful
Krishna.
session, darling. Wonderful
Thank
session.
you.
Hare
Thank you,
Hare.
Mataji.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Amazing.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Divya. Nice to see you. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Very nice class. Very nice. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.